What is up, guys? Welcome back to another video. I actually just kind of tried to record this video twice, but my microphone wasn't really working. So yeah, we're gonna hope that the microphone is working this time because the audio was pretty freaking bad. Anyway, there's two issues I've been having with the truck lately since I made the last video of cutting the exhaust off and stuff. And the issues don't have to do with the exhaust at all. But the first issue, all right, you guys probably remember a little while ago I made a video, probably about, it was around the time that I bought the black truck over here. I made this video kind of like myth busting, bedliner paint job myths and whatever else. And it was kind of just like a big, I don't know, kind of like a big joke video. And one of the things that I said in that video is how people always, you know, they say about bedliner paint jobs that they hold water and that weird stuff happens with them and that they hold water and stuff. And I've noticed some weird stuff that happens with the bedliner, how it can get stained and how it can, you guys see that crow up there? He's standing on the very tip of a tree. Oh, and there's a branch in the way. All right, look right, like there. He's standing right up there, right up on the top of that tree. Huh. Anyway, probably feels like the king of the jungle up there. Anyway, yeah, so that video that I made, kind of poking fun at stuff, I noticed probably 2 weeks ago that my bedliner paint job in one particular area was actually holding some water in it. So that area is right here, and I'll show you guys. It kind of is not exactly, it's not really bubbled anymore because I kind of poked it right here with a little knife and kind of drained the water out, because what was happening is we had these probably like these 3 days in a row that it was so humid out that like just from being outside you would, I don't know, get friggin' drenched just because of how humid it was. But during those couple of days there, I noticed that this was starting to bubble, and then whenever I squeezed on it, kind of just put some pressure on it and push it, water would kind of seep out from it. So that's the only spot on the entire truck where that is happening, but it's just kind of something I wanted to bring up when it comes to bedliner paint jobs. It could be just the material that I used, which was made by SEM products, which I'm not blaming them for this issue, by the way. I don't know if it's just something that happens with that product or if it was a prep issue, which it very well could have been a prep issue, or something along the lines. Like if you have something, like if you're to have something on your paint before you go to paint it, it's not really gonna, you know, adhere properly to the surface. So there could have been something there that we just couldn't see, or it could be because since my tire rubs right here pretty badly actually, and it's kind of down to bare metal, it could be water somehow making its way up through here and all collecting in this area, or it could have just been because it was really humid out. I don't know, but I did poke it and drain the water out, and since then it hasn't bubbled up since really. But yeah, so that's just kind of something that I'm gonna have to keep an eye on, is this specific problem area. And if it does get bad enough that it does start expanding that little bubble there, and it starts, you know, maybe going up this body line or going out that way or whatever else, probably what I'll end up doing is hopefully I catch it before it makes it past this body line, because what I'd like to do, if it does start getting worse, is kind of chip all the bedliner off underneath this body line and spray all this black, so that the reason why I wouldn't want to do two different, or why I wouldn't want to spray the bottom orange also, like the same as the top, is because when you mix the bedliner, getting the color exactly perfect is probably not something that's going to happen. So you'd see a distinct difference between here, and they'd be two different shades of orange. So I'd probably just chip it off and do black from this body line down. But it's just something we're going to have to take a look at and keep an eye on, because here's an example kind of that, the color difference. So like this back panel here, the whole back section of the cab was painted from a different batch of bedliner, and the color is slightly different. Also the texture is kind of different because that's we're still kind of trying to figure it out. So it's not, you know, it's not like a perfect paint job by any means, but it is a slightly different color. So you guys can probably tell in some of the pictures that I take, the back section right here will end up being a slightly different color than the entire rest of the truck because it was painted in 2 different batches. Plus it's also got a different texture to it, which is probably just the PSI that we sprayed it at. It came out a lot smoother than the rest of the truck, but it doesn't really bother me all that much. But I'm just saying, if we do go and have to repair that little problem area down there at some point, I'll probably just do the bottom in black to avoid having multiple different shades of orange throughout the whole truck, because then it'll just look way too tacky. But that is the first problem that I kind of had in the last couple of weeks, which, I don't know, it's not really a major problem right now, and it is my guess that it's not starting to rust yet because there's really not a whole lot of air getting to it. And it's, I don't know, it's all I'm thinking is that it's probably not rusted, because you can't feel, it's not crunchy or anything back there, so it's definitely probably solid metal right here. It's not, maybe a little bit of surface rust, a little bit, I don't know, but I'm willing to bet that it's just the water built up in there. But after a while, probably, I don't know, a year or 2, it would probably start to rust. So it's just something I'm gonna have to keep an eye on. But the second problem that I had in the last couple of weeks here, probably right around the same time that happened, I was taking the truck, I don't remember where I was going, but I pull out of the driveway, and the whole front end of the truck just starts shaking pretty violently, kind of all like this, all right? The doors are all creaking like crazy, dash pads friggin' rattling like crazy, and I'm like, all right, this isn't good. I was only going like 30 miles an hour too. So I pull off to the side, and there was a guy behind me actually friggin' riding my ass, because this is a 50-mile-an-hour zone. And I obviously couldn't go any faster because my front end was freaking shaking like crazy, so I just kind of went off to the right. I was probably going, I don't know, 25, 30, whatever. And, here's like, on like the slope on the side of the road. So I just kind of pulled off into there and just rode it out and got back on, which was kind of a little bit scary, but I didn't hit anything, so that's good. But yeah, so that happened, so I brought it home, and I kind of knew already what the issue was going to be. So when you buy one of these trucks already lifted, or if you lift it yourself, or really any truck for that matter, when you get drop brackets and stuff, you're supposed to retorque the drop brackets every so often so that you don't get stuff that loosens up over time and start wiggling loose. So a couple of years ago, when I first bought this truck, I was having an issue with the rear drop bracket for the TTB. And also my dad just started his Trans Am up. I don't know if you guys can hear that. But this rear drop bracket right here, right up there, there's 3 bolts in it, all right? And these are very prone to coming loose when you have a lifted truck, or a lifted F-150 or an F-250 with this front end. Those bolts are very prone to coming loose. So what I did a couple of years ago was I just kind of tightened them up, tightened them up really good, and welded the nut to the stud. And it lasted quite a while, but then what ended up happening is, it kind of worked its way loose a little bit again and started wobbling again. So how I fixed that issue this time, I just, went ahead and welded the front of the drop bracket. Right there, you can probably see it, the front of that back drop bracket back there. I just went ahead and welded that all solid, so it's not moving at all anymore, so I'm not having that issue anymore. But yeah, then after further inspection of, kind of looking stuff over, I noticed also that this side, okay, you can see this tread wear is really bad right here, compared to the outside, because it kind of has a little bit of camber to it, but you can tell it was hopping really bad compared to the tread height on that side of the lug right there compared to the middle. And it's like that all the way through, all the way on this entire side of the tire. It's really uneven. You can tell from this angle too. It's much lower right in this center than it is up on the edge here. So yeah, that's kind of a telltale sign too that you have stuff that's wearing out, which I kind of noticed it, but I didn't really do anything about it until it got to the point where I had to do something about it. So this tire is pretty, I don't know, it's seen some better days. But yeah, and it's only happening on that side too. Like this other tire is perfectly fine when it comes to tread wear. So it was really only the you know, that one drop bracket that was messing it up, because this tire is perfectly fine. So yeah, that's kind of the two issues that I had. At some point, you know, all this stuff is going to be coming out when I do the axle swap and whatever. So really that's kind of a temporary band-aid, just kind of welding that bracket solid, just so I can drive it in the meantime and stuff like that. Plus the axle pivot bushings are not in the best shape, so at some point it'll you know, it'll all come out and get all the new stuff from the axle swap and the 4-links and whatever else. But yeah, that's just my two problems that I've been having lately. One of them is fixed temporarily for the axle, and then the other one, you know, being the bubbling in the paint, which we'll have to keep an eye on. So that's just a little update for today. Not really much else has been going on other than that. I was gonna make two separate videos on it, one about the bubble and one about the you know, the axle and whatever, and show you guys fixing the axle and whatever else, but I just decided I'd just do it without recording it and then talk about it afterwards. So that's what this is. Anyway guys, thank you guys for watching this video. If you want to see the video of the drop bracket actually moving and wiggling back and forth and whatever, that video is on my Instagram page. And there's totally something walking around out here. Probably like a squirrel or something. But there was some freaking crazy coyotes out here last night. Like there was like a whole pack of freaking coyotes just like screaming. But it's probably not a coyote. But anyway, yeah, that's gonna do it for today. So I heard some twigs break. But anyway, holy shit, what the fuck is this? I swear I didn't run anybody over. This tree, I should probably not park under this tree anymore. That is really, really bad.